When we think about healing, we often picture focusing on one part of ourselves, the body, the mind, or maybe the spirit. What if I told you that healing isn't just about working on one aspect of who we are? There's a framework that truly embraces all the different dimensions of our experience. It's called the Four Quadrants, developed originally by Ken Wilber, and it's one of the foundations of integral psychology. These quadrants represent four perspectives that we need to look at in order to understand healing in a truly holistic way. Let's walk through the four quadrants together. The first quadrant is the interior individual, or what we might call the I. Let's take anxiety, for example. In this quadrant, we look at how anxiety manifests in our inner experience, our thoughts, our feelings, and the stories we tell ourselves. We might explore how a person feels a sense of dread or worry, the self-critical thoughts they have, and how they interpret their experience in a way that creates stress. It's what's happening inside us that no one else can see or feel. It's where traditional psychology often focuses. But here's the thing, this is only one part of the picture. Let's go on to the second quadrant. The second quadrant is exterior individual, or IT. Using anxiety as our example, this perspective looks at the observable aspects, how anxiety affects the body and behavior. It might include physical symptoms like racing heart, shallow breathing, or muscle tension, as well as behaviors like avoidance of certain situations or repetitive actions aimed at reducing anxiety. It's the kind of thing that somebody from the outside can look at and say, that's going on. That's why it's called exterior individual. And this is where science and medicine tend to focus, treating the body as a mechanical system that can be fixed. But we know that our body and our emotions are intimately linked. The way we treat our body influences our emotional and mental well-being, and vice versa. So then we move on to the third quadrant, the interior collective, or the we. From the perspective of anxiety, this quadrant considers how relationships and shared beliefs contribute to the experience. For example, for instance, the person might have learned anxious responses from their family environment, or there could be unspoken beliefs when they're within their community about needing to always be perfect or in control, which exacerbate these feelings of anxiety. Healing isn't just something we do alone. It's deeply connected to our relationships with others. We carry the impact of collective trauma, family patterns, and the cultural stories we've grown up with. This quadrant, this perspective, reminds us that our healing journey involves understanding our place in these larger collective experiences. And then finally, the fourth quadrant, or fourth perspective, we have the exterior collective, what some people might call the ITS. For anxiety, our example, this perspective looks at the broader systemic and environmental factors that contribute. It might include stressors such as economic instability, demanding workplace environments, fragmentation of the nuclear family, or a lack of access to mental health resources, all of which can heighten anxiety levels for an individual. Healing can't ignore these factors because they influence our health in a very real way, and they influence our recovery from health problems in a very real way. Addressing systemic imbalances, whether it's social justice, environmental issues, or access to healthcare, has a direct impact on individual well-being. And even when we're dealing at the individual level, the acknowledgement of the existence of those systemic issues and the individual's interaction with those systemic issues must be taken into account. So when we approach healing from the integral perspective, all four of these quadrants, all four of these perspectives, we're considering all of these dimensions. We're not just focusing on the body, mind, or the spirit alone. We're seeing how they all connect and how all these four perspectives bring together a broader and more complete view of what's actually happening. We're seeing how they all connect, how they all interact with each other, how they all play a role in creating a life where we can truly thrive and not just survive. These four perspectives give us a map, an invitation to look more deeply, to recognize that true healing comes when we honor the complexity of who we are and the world we live in. This richer, more holistic perspective is why I became an integral psychologist in the first place. Let's understand that we are whole, unitary beings, and that any approach to healing or learning or growing must treat us like whole unitary beings. I do integral psychology because we are integral beings, integral meaning whole. I hope this is helpful. Be well.